बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिधर यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारि यमुनतीरवनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय ओम मुक्तपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद His Divine Grace अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद His Divine Grace भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगमयी यमुनमयी भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की all glories to the assembled devotee all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatimirandasya श्री राधा कृष्ण पादा सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्विता हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते सप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, titled The Activities of Maharaj Agnitra, text number prose. Agnitra Sutaste Mathur. Just read. Agnitra Sutaste Mathur Anugrahad औत्पत्तिकेनैव समहन्न बलोपेताः पित्रा विभका आत्मतुल्य नामानि यथा भागं जम्बूद्वीप वर्षाणि बुभुज Agnidrasutaha. You can repeat. The sons of Maharaj Agnidra. They, Matuhu, of the mother. Anugrahat, by the mercy or by drinking her breast milk. Outpattikena, naturally. Eva, certainly. Samhanana, well built body. Bala, strength. Upetaha, obtained. Pitra, by the father. Vibhaktaha, divided. Atmatulya, following their own. Namani, possessing names. Yatha bhagam, divided properly. Jambudvipa Varshani, different parts of Jambudvipa, probably Asia and Europe combined together. Bubhujuhu, ruled. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because of drinking the breast milk of their mother, the 9 sons of Agnidhra naturally had strong, well-built bodies. Their father gave them each a kingdom in a different part of Jambudvipa. The kingdoms were named according to the names of the sons. Thus, the sons of Agnidhara ruled the kingdom they received from their father. Purport. The Acharyas specifically mentioned that in this verse the word Matuhu Anugrahat, by the mercy of their mother, refers to the breast milk of their mother. In India, it is a common belief that if a baby is fed his mother's milk for at least 6 months, his body will be very strong. Besides that, it is mentioned herein that all the sons of Agnidhara were endowed with the nature of their mother. Bhagavad Gita also declares, Strishu Dushtasu Varshneya Jayate Varnasankaraha. When women are polluted, Varnasankara, unqualified children are generated. And when the Varnasankara population increases, the entire world becomes hellish. Therefore, according to Manu Samhita, a woman needs a great deal of protection in order to remain pure and chaste so that her children can be fully engaged for the benefit of human society. Hare Krishna. I offer my humble obeisances to all the devotees assembled here at ISKCON the bits. Today we are discussing from the second chapter of the fifth canto, where Sukadeva Goswami said that Agnidhara's wife Purvachitti, she gave birth to 9 sons, and by drinking her breast milk, all these 9 sons became very powerful, very strong. And the Sanskrit used here is Matuhu Anugrahat, by the Anugraha or mercy of the mother. What's mother's mercy? Mother's mercy is the breast milk. That's what Prabhupada writes here. Matuhu Anugrahat specifically refers to the milk of the mother. So by drinking the milk of mother, these boys became very powerful, very strong, of course very cultured, and they started ruling the 9 Varshas of Jambudvipa. Jambudvipa is the middlemost island in the Bhumandala. And in this Jambudvipa, there are 9 tracts of land called 9 Varshas, like Kimpurusha Varsha, Bharata Varsha, Hari Varsha, Uttarakuru Varsha. So the sons of this mother, Purvachitti, became the rulers of these 9 tracts of land. So Prabhupada comments that if a child is fed mother's milk for at least 6 months, the child will become very strong. And if the mother happens to be a devotee of Krishna, a Vaishnavi, the child becomes spiritually strong also, not only physically strong. So, this is a theme that appears at quite few places in Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. Krishna drinks the milk of Mother Yashoda. And all of you know this popular episode of Damodar Leela, where Mother Yashoda was once churning buttermilk just to extract butter for Krishna, so that Krishna would stop his stealing. But Krishna wouldn't stop stealing. Mother Yashoda was thinking that maybe the butter that I am providing in my home is not sufficiently tasty for Krishna. Therefore, he is looking for the taste outside my home, going to neighbors' houses, stealing butter, drinking their milk, and all these gopis are coming with so many complaints against Krishna. Every day I have to just pacify them, console them, and scold Krishna. Let me stop all this. Let me provide good quality butter to Krishna in my home. So with that intention, Yashoda Mata got up early in the morning on Diwali day. Although she had hundreds of maid servants, she personally started churning butter for Krishna in the Brahma Muhurta, early in the morning. Ekada grahadasishu yashodanandagehini karmantara niyuktasu nirmamantha swayam dadhi. Nirmamantha swayam dadhi. She is personally churning yogurt to produce butter for Krishna. At that time, her attire is very beautifully described by Sukadeva Goswami. And specifically it is mentioned, Prabhupada writes in that purport, that one who wants to develop Vatsalya affection for Krishna, a sadhaka who is aspiring to develop that Vatsalya bhava, must meditate on the features of Mother Yashoda. Kshaumam vasaha pruthukatitate bibhrati sutranadham putrasnehasnuta kuchayugam jatakam pamcha subhrum rajvakarshashrama bhujachalat kankane kundalova svinnam vaktram kabara vigalan malati nirmamantha. As Mother Yashoda is churning butter for Krishna while wearing a beautiful saffronish yellow sari and pulling the rope while churning, her bangles were moving, her body was shaking, her breasts were moving, and she was having uh, hair standing on her end. She was remembering Krishna, she was missing Krishna. She was unable to, she was able to do that service, but at the same time, she was unable to control herself from remembering her son. With intense Vatsalya affection, she was missing Krishna. And Whenever a devotee feels separation from Krishna, devotee should focus on service to Krishna and remember Krishna's pastimes. That remembrance of Krishna and service to Krishna means seva and smaranam can mitigate one's feelings of separation. So she was happily churning like that, meditating on Krishna. Her body was engaged in doing this churning service. Her mind was engaged in thinking of Krishna. Her words were engaged in glorifying Krishna. Then Krishna got up from sleep in the next bedroom. As soon as he gets up, he was missing Mother Yashoda. Just as a devotee misses Krishna, Krishna also misses his devotee. Tam stanyakama asadya. As soon as Krishna got up, he became hungry and he wanted to drink mother's milk immediately. So with the desire to drink her milk, Krishna came out of his bedroom, came all the way to kitchen, and Yashodamata started feeding Krishna. Yashodamata did not even pick up Krishna and keep him on her lap. Yashodamata was continuing to churn butter, continuing her service to Krishna. Krishna came and caught the churning rod like this. Stop this churning. Your job is to feed me now. Not churn some buttermilk for producing butter. You should feed me your milk now. So Krishna became very eager to drink her milk. And because Mother Yashoda's lap is Krishna's property, Krishna's asan, Yashodamata did not say or need not say Idam asanam Krishnaya namaha. She need not chant any mantras. Krishna would just jump into her lap and started drinking milk. And there was a transcendental competition between Mother Yashoda and Krishna here. How much milk a small child, maybe 2-3-year-old boy at that time, how much milk he can drink? Half liter, 1 liter, 2 liters. But Krishna can drink gallons of milk. Because that milk of Mother Yashoda is just a transformation of her love for her son. And how much milk a mother's body can produce? 1 liter, 2 liters, 10 liters. But Yashoda Mata can produce unlimited quantities of milk. A milk ocean can come. Because the love and affection that she has for Krishna is oceanic. Because that love is unlimited, the transformation of that love in the form of milk is also unlimited. So unlimited quantities of milk is coming from Mother Yashoda's body, like torrents of rain. And Krishna, like a Chataka bird, is drinking that milk. Chataka bird does not drink water from Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Kaveri. Chataka bird is a special bird that does not drink Bisleri water or any other mineral water, RO water. Chataka bird drinks only water coming from the sky directly. Similarly, Mother Yashoda was producing milk like rain cloud, and Krishna, who has the complexion of a rain cloud, started drinking the mother's milk like a Chataka bird. Right? In this transcendental competition, what is this competition? How much milk Krishna can drink, how much milk Mother Yashoda can produce. We just discussed both have unlimited capacity. Krishna has unlimited capacity to drink milk, and Yashoda Mata has unlimited capacity to produce milk. In this transcendental competition, sometimes Krishna loses, Yashoda Mata wins. How? As Krishna is drinking Mother Yashoda's milk with so much of hunger, thirst, and eagerness, sometimes some rivulets of milk, some drops of milk just come out of his mouth, and on his bluish cheeks, these drops of milk appear like pearls. So white pearl and a blue background appears very bright. It's like that. Means Yashoda Mata was able to produce more milk than Krishna could drink. So sometimes when devotees love Krishna, especially Vrajavasis shower their love on Krishna, Krishna feels little overwhelmed. In the case of the gopis, Krishna said, Naparayeham niravadya samyujam. I don't have the ability to sufficiently reciprocate with your love and affection. Oh, gopis, may you be satisfied with your own service attitude. I don't have the ability to reciprocate with you. Although I said confidently in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yathamam prapadyante tamstathaiva bhajamyaham. The way you approach me, I will reciprocate with you. Krishna said in Gita, but
In Vrindavan, Krishna fails to implement this. Ye thamam prapadante tamstataiva bhajamyaham. I can't sufficiently reciprocate with the extent of service that these Vrajavasis are doing. And here is Mother Yashoda doing her motherly service to Krishna, and Krishna is able to accept all of it, but sometimes it's getting overwhelming. She has more love than I can experience or reciprocate with. She has more milk than I can drink. That is Krishna's condition. Okay. Jai Shri Radha Madan Mohan Dev ki jai. So Mother Yashoda feeds. Not only Mother Yashoda. In Vrindavan, Mother Rohini also feeds her milk to Krishna. Sometimes Yashoda Mata gives her breast milk to Balaram, and Rohini Mata gives her milk to Krishna. Right? See, these two mothers take care of two babies, both babies. Right? So Krishna drinks Rohini Mata's milk also. Not just that, Yashoda Mata has so many friends, the elder gopis. All these gopis also were very enthusiastic to give their milk to Krishna. So Krishna not only has the capacity to drink the unlimited quantity of milk from Mother Yashoda's body, he has unlimited appetite to reciprocate with the motherly affection of all the motherly gopis in Vrindavan, and he expands himself into unlimited forms of gopas, and he starts drinking the milk of all these motherly gopis in Vrindavan. Right? So this is Krishna. And not just 6 months. Prabhupada writes, if a baby drinks mother's breast milk for about 6 months, he becomes very strong. So Krishna would drink even after 6 months also, 1 year also, 2 years also probably. And now this milk of a mother is a symbol of her motherly affection. Milk of a woman is a symbol of her motherly affection. So it's not that, like when Prabhupada is writing about breast milk and all that, it's not a symbol of enjoyment or sense gratification or material form. So the breast is the symbol of motherhood, right? So that nourishes the child. And there are people who glance at this woman lustily. And Prabhupada also writes later that may lead to Varnashankara Karakaihi. Strishu Drushtasu Varshneya Jayate Varnashankaraihi. Right? So there are some people, some men who lust after women seeing the form, external form, but that form which might induce lust in lusty people, lusty men, is actually the form of a mother. Right? It's the form of a mother, and it's a representative of motherhood, and thus, therefore, they must be protected. That's what Prabhupada writes at the end of the purport. According to Manu Samhita, woman needs a great deal of protection in order to remain pure and chaste, so that her children can be fully engaged for the benefit of human society. Right? When innocent women are exploited by unscrupulous and lusty men, that might create unwanted progeny, and that can create imbalance in the society. Therefore, women must always be protected and respected. Right? So, now here, mother's milk is providing so much of strength to the child and creating strong children. And if the mother is a Vaishnavi, a devotee, very spiritually minded children. Right? This purport is revealing that. So what does it mean? The mother's consciousness and the father's consciousness, the parent's consciousness will have a great impact on the children's overall character and upbringing. Right? The consciousness with which parents conceive children has a great impact on their future. And the consciousness with which the parents raise children also has great impact on the children. Physically speaking, when the father follows brahmacharya, and the father is very self-controlled person, right? Then he can produce the seed which is very potent. And when the mother is very chaste, when the woman is very chaste, she can produce wonderful quality of milk that can nourish the child. Thus, the chastity and purity of father and mother will produce a strong child who is physically fit, physically strong. At the same time, if they are devotees, parents are devotees, children also will become spiritually strong. The consciousness of the parents is induced into the overall personality of kids, children. Now let's see Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's go to various cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. We just went to 10th canto and saw Mother Yashoda, how she was feeding Krishna. So let's see the examples of some mothers and fathers in Srimad Bhagavatam, how their consciousness affected their children. You see Diti. Mother Diti was very envious. She went to her husband Kashyapa Muni at an inappropriate time, at Sandhya time. She became lusty. She said, I want children now. Why? Her co-wives were already mothers. Her co-wives have given birth to so many children and she's very envious of them. She's very jealous of them. She felt that they have kids, I don't have kids. I must need kids now. She became very impatient. She went at an inappropriate time, when at the Sandhya time, to our Kashyapa, her husband, and said, I want children now. He said, yes, you will definitely get. Wait for some time. This is not the appropriate time. He also spoke so many things that Lord Shiva is wandering at this moment. He'll be very displeased when somebody engages in this kind of activities now. But she was very impatient. She was pulling the Uttaraya of Kashyapa Muni, and Kashyapa Muni gave in. It is not only her mistake, it is Kashyapa Muni's mistake also. Because Kashyapa Muni was only trying to console her and pacify her with mild words. He was not very strong. He was not very assertive. So Kashyapa Muni also gave in. And their combination, and especially Diti's envy towards her co-wives, Diti's lusty attitude, and her uniting with her husband at an inappropriate time, produced two demons. Who are they? Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So the consciousness of this mother, and of course father also, that affected the children and that invited such children into their family. So Diti was setting an example of a bad, mother who could not give proper consciousness, who could not conceive children in the right consciousness, in the expected consciousness. And Kashyapa Muni, although he was trying to console her, but still Kashyapa Muni kind of gave in at one point. He was trying to pacify, control. No, don't do this. It's not right. It's not right. But still, he also was a little weak-hearted. On the other hand, we see the example of Mother Devahuti. So earlier, Devahuti Mata gave birth to 9 daughters in a proper method, in proper consciousness. And later, Devahuti Mata worshipped Krishna sincerely under the guidance of her husband, is that Kardama Muni. And she gave birth to a wonderful child, Kapila Dev. He's an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Well, Diti Mata gave birth to 2 demons. Devahuti Mata gave birth to the Supreme Lord himself, an incarnation himself. So the consciousness of Devahuti Mata and the consciousness of Kardama Muni, who practiced brahmacharya for 10,000 years, who practiced celibacy, who practiced devotional austerities for 10,000 years, who had the darshan of the Lord, who had special blessings of the Lord. So he is the father. And Devahuti Mata is such a chaste woman who is very, very devoted to spiritual culture, coming from a glorious dynasty like Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. So she is the mother. So the combination of this exemplary mother and exemplary father gave birth to an incarnation of the Lord, Kapila. So they were in proper consciousness while conceiving the child, before conceiving the child, after conceiving the child, while raising the child, they were in proper consciousness, in a devotional consciousness. Now you see the same canto, 5th canto. Just in the previous chapter, we see the example of Priyavrata Maharaj. He's a pure devotee. He's a wonderful devotee. He was following celibacy, practicing brahmacharya under the guidance of Narada Muni. But Swayambhu Manu came and requested Priyavrata Maharaj, can you please take charge of the kingdom? Without much interest, without so much of excitement, Priyavrata Maharaj took charge of the kingdom. He sat on the throne. He married also, Barhishmati. But somehow while conceiving the first child, Priyavrata Maharaj became little lusty. And because Priyavrata Maharaj was lusty before conceiving the child, His first child, Agnidhra, became Pitruloka Kama. Not Goloka Kama, not Vaikuntha Loka Kama. He became Pitruloka Kama. He became desirous of entering Pitruloka. He is a pure devotee. He should be desiring to enter the spiritual planets of Krishna. And he wanted to marry a girl, this is Porochiti, who can produce a child who can send him to Pitruloka. That is his intention. Why did Priyavrata Maharaj attract such a personality, Agnidhra, into his family? Agnidhra is also devotee, but the point here is because Priyavrata Maharaj became little lusty, there is some kind of glitch in the mentality of this Agnidhra, right? Where he became Pitruloka Kama, not like pure devotee aspirations. So, when the parents are prayerful, when the parents are sincere in their practice of spiritual life, bhakti, when they are chanting, when they are praying, when they are remembering Krishna, and thus in that consciousness, when they give birth to a child, and then after the birth of the child, they raise the child in a proper conscious way, inculcating good character in them, then that will create great progeny, and that will um, help the entire humanity. As Prabhupada says, these children can be fully engaged in the benefit of human society. So, the responsibility of parents is to create benefit for the entire human society, right? So, producing children is not an activity of sense enjoyment, sense gratification. It's a service. It's a great service where a conditioned soul is brought into a human body and is given another opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness, to practice spiritual life and bhakti yoga, and go back to Godhead. Right? So, every birth of a human child through the medium of parents is a wonderful service done by the parents to give an opportunity to a conditioned soul who is still rotting in this material existence to enter a human body and raise in Krishna consciousness, and then benefit oneself spiritually and go back to Godhead, and if possible take 10 other people, 20 other people, 1,000 other people also back to Godhead, right? So that is the service. Since gratification element may be there, that is secondary. If that becomes primary and service goes on the secondary plane, it's very it creates a precarious condition in the human society. So we have seen the example of Diti and Devahuti and also Priyavrata Maharaj. Let us see the example of another mother in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Her name is Suniti. Suniti was the wife of Uttanapad. Uttanapada Maharaj had two wives, Suniti and Suruchi. See the names, Niti and Ruchi. Niti means morality. Suniti represents that morality, virtue, values, principles, goodness, righteousness. That is Suniti. Ruchi means taste. Very tasty. Everything that is tasty for your tongue may not be healthy for your body. Right? So doctor will say, don't eat this food. It could be fried food, it could be something else, spicy food. Doctor says, don't eat this food. That is morality, that is niti. But the tongue says, I want ruchi. I want ruchi. I don't want this niti. So the patient will ignore the niti spoken by the doctor and takes to ruchi. Tasty food, spicy food or whatever it is. Similarly, Uttanapad, representing that nature of a conditioned soul, is a great devotee, no doubt. All these great devotees have love for Krishna, but somehow some of them had some little shortcomings. And Bhagavatam highlights those shortcomings very clearly. Even if you are an exalted devotee and emperor also, there is a possibility of you becoming a victim of such bad qualities, anarthas. Be very careful. So Uttanapad Maharaj is representing that conditioned soul who is more inclined to Ruchi than Niti. So he gave more preference to Suruchi, his younger wife, and spending more time with her, and ignoring Suniti, her older wife, his older wife. So Uttanapad was once sitting with Uttama on his lap. Then little Dhruva came, Suniti's son Dhruva came there. He also wanted to sit on father's lap. So, you know the story. I'll not go into details. But Suruchi chastised Dhruva. Although you are also the son of king, this king, you have no qualification to sit on his lap or his throne because you are not my son. You are someone else's son. Being a small child, you can't understand the difference between Suruchi and Suniti, your mother and your stepmother. Please understand the difference now, I will tell you. The childhood innocence of Dhruva could not understand the difference between his mother and his stepmother. But the adulthood arrogance of Suruchi pointed out the difference to Dhruva. She said, I am the favorite queen of your father, and your mother is not the favorite queen. So, only the child of the favorite queen will sit on father's lap, not you. Out. And while Suruchi is speaking so harshly towards this little child, Uttanapad, who had the responsibility and authority to control her and support this child, he did not speak a single word. He did not speak a single word. He's silent. That pained Dhruva's heart even more. Then Dhruva ran, hissing like a snake with anger and disappointment, discouragement. He ran towards his mother. And this noble mother, Suruchi, said, what to do, my dear child? You are born of an unfortunate mother and you are raised by drinking the milk of an unfortunate mother like me, who is neglected by her husband. And what else you expect? Nevertheless, don't desire harm for those who have harmed you. First advice she gave. Davagnina davalateva bala. Although Mother Suniti's heart and Mother Suniti's entire body is burning as if she were a leaf in forest fire because of the insult done by her co-wife and also her husband, still she was able to control her emotions, regulate her mind, regulate her emotions, and give good training to this little child. My dear child, even if somebody has harmed you, you don't have to contemplate harm for that person. You need not harm that person. You should not even think that Suruchi should get this or get that reaction because of insulting you. Don't desire harm for her. Please understand that whenever we are insulted, whenever we face some difficulty, it is only because of our past misdeeds. It's a reaction to our own past mistakes that we are experiencing this. Take it as your karma. Don't hate anybody. And whatever desire you may have, please take shelter of Krishna. Please take shelter of Krishna. He will fulfill all your desires. You want to sit on Father's throne? You want to sit on Father's lap? You want any other benediction? Krishna is there to protect you. Please do that. So this is Mother Suniti's advice. So Suniti says, you grew up drinking my milk and I am an unfortunate mother. Therefore, you have to suffer like this. So, not only physical strength, not only spiritual strength, even morally speaking, not morally, I would say, socially speaking also, if the mother is neglected by the father, like Suniti's case, the child also will receive that insult. Right? So, like in short, the summary of many episodes that we were discussing is parents' condition, parents' disposition, their consciousness that will have a great impact on the children. Right? So, Suniti, but although she was unfortunate on an external plane, on a material plane, considering herself an unfortunate mother who could not even get father's attention for her child, this mother is so glorious Vaishnavi. Now see the spiritual side of her. Materially speaking, she may be in a very awkward situation, humiliating situation. But spiritually speaking, she is a pure Vaishnavi. Therefore, she immediately taught Vishnu Bhakti to Krishna, to Dhruva. She said, Tameva vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam mumukshibhir mrugya padabja paddhatim ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite manasya vasthapya bhajasva purusham. She said, Tameva vatsa ashraya bhritya vatsalam. My dear child Dhruva, your great grandfather Brahma worshipped the Supreme Lord Krishna and he got the ability to create this entire universe. That is the power of Krishna worship. Second, your grandfather Manu also did so many austerities and worshipped the Supreme Lord and he became the father of mankind. He became the ruler of Bhumandala and he is such a glorious, wonderful Vaishnav. She did not give the example of father Uttanapad. She only gave the example of grandfather and great grandfather. She was saying, your great grandfather Brahma is a devotee, your grandfather Manu is a devotee, therefore you also become a devotee. She did not comment on Uttanapad. She did not find fault with Uttanapad. She did not say, your father is not a devotee. She just kind of skipped. She skipped his example, no mention at all. Because your great grandfather Brahma worshipped the Lord, because your grandfather Manu worshipped the Lord, you also worship the Lord. Tvameva tam eva vatsa ashraya bhritya vatsalam. My dear Vatsa, my dear son, ashraya, take shelter of that bhritya vatsala, of that Lord who is very affectionate towards his devotees, bhritya vatsalam. And mumukshu bhiramrugya padabja paddhatim. Those who are mumukshus, those who are desirous of liberation, they have followed this paddhati. What paddhati? The paddhati or the process of taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. You also follow that process. Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite manasyavasthapya bhajasva purusham. Ananya bhava, without any distractions in your mind, you please place the Supreme Lord in your heart and worship Him. Take His shelter. Bhajasva purusham, do bhajan. This is the nature of a glorious mother. Prabhupada writes, even she herself says, Prabhupada writes in the purport that Suniti Mata told Dhruva that I am just one mother. I can give you the affection of one mother only. But Krishna can give you the affection of millions of mothers put together. The combined affection of 10 million mothers is there in Krishna's one glance. She is the glorious mother who pointed out Krishna's motherly nature to her child. Right? And Dhruva is very fortunate enough to have such a mother, and also the Supreme Mother, Supreme Father Krishna. Right? But in contrast to Suniti Mata, there is another Mata, Sunitha. She is Suniti, there is Sunitha. She is the wife of Anga Maharaj. In the 4th canto only, her story also comes, 14th chapter, 13, 14 chapters. Anga Maharaj is a pure devotee, a great Vaishnava. He had a wife named Sunitha, who was the daughter of Mrityu, death personified. The death god, Yamaraj, who gives punishment to all sinful souls. And this girl, Sunitha, she observed her father punishing so many sinful people, or ordering his soldiers, you punish him in this way, you punish him in that way. And she is regularly seeing so many sinful people being punished by her father, and she also developed that nature. He is a pure Vaishnava, Yamaraj. Instead of inheriting his devotional qualities, she, as a little grown-up girl, young girl, she started observing his certain activities and picked up those personality traits, and she became very cruel. Right? She started troubling people. One day, one Gandharva, I think, one young Devata is coming and doing some austerities. She took a whip and started beating him. For what reason? No reason. He is doing his meditation, simply. And just to imitate her father, she started beating him with a whip. He became very angry. What kind of lady are you? You are just beating me for no reason with a whip. I curse you. May you have a cruel son. You are behaving very cruelly. May your child also become cruel. Then later she was married to Anga Maharaj. And Anga Maharaj did not have a son for whatever reason. And some great sages performed some sacrifice and enabled Anga Maharaj to have a son. And Anga Maharaj got that payasam, the sacrificial prasadam, and gave that prasadam to this Sunitha, and she drank it. She became pregnant. She gave birth to a child. But somehow, he also inherited his grandfather's qualities and mother's nature. Because mother was very cruel, was very insensitive to the pain of others. This son also became extremely cruel. Because mother imitated her father, and this boy also imitated his grandfather. And he also became cruel. While playing with kids, his playmates, he would pick up that boy and then throw him into the water or beat them, sometimes kill them also. That's how he grew up. Anga Maharaj Anga Maharaj tried to train Vena in 100 different ways, teach him good culture and discipline and some compassion and some values and virtues. He failed completely because the conditioning coming from mother side is very strong. Definitely, Vena is a product of Anga and Sunita. But Sunita's influence was more on him. And he became extremely cruel. No possibility of reformation. So Anga Maharaj became so frustrated and he started thinking, better have no son than have this kind of son. Having no son is better than having a bad son. But later Anga Maharaj thought from a different angle. He thought, actually, having a bad son is better than having a good son. What was his logic? Because a good son will increase attachment to the family, attachment to this materialistic affairs. But a bad son will induce some kind of detachment. My great son, Vena, made me completely detached from this kingdom life and all. All thanks to Vena, and he retired from the kingdom. He left, took shelter of the Lord. Right? His attempt was good. He wanted to give a proper successor to the child, a successor to the kingdom, and train him nicely as a good king and a good devotee, but somehow he failed in that attempt. But good, even that failed attempt induced some feeling of detachment and increased his devotion, intensified his devotion, and he went back to Godhead happily. Right? From a material perspective, you may say, oh, he neglected the kingdom. But from a spiritual perspective, he entered the spiritual kingdom. Therefore, it's not a failure. So, this is about Sunita, whose character had an influence on her son Vena. Now, if you see several examples of Srimad Bhagavatam, the way parents conceived the children and the way parents raised their children formed their character. And of course, parents have an influence on the children to some degree while conceiving the children and while raising the children. But when they're little grown up, they have their own activities. Their karma will become very active, right? When the possibility of molding the kids, training the kids just goes away. when when they're little plants, there's a possibility of training. When they become trees, no more training. Difficult to train. All their past karma will become more active. All the hundreds and thousands of material impressions that they are carrying from so many lifetimes will become more and more active. And on top of it, the training is very weak. If the culture given to them and samskaras given to them are very weak, and if the way they are conceived and raised also is not much up to the mark, then children will become like this. So, it is a recommendation from the scriptures that parents conceive the child in a Krishna conscious way and raise the child in a Krishna conscious way and thus perfect their own lives. And by doing this service to one soul and trying to bring that one soul or two souls, their children, closer to Krishna consciousness, Krishna's lotus feet, they themselves will also attain great spiritual advancement and they will become an object of Krishna's mercy. Right? We have the example of Nabhi Maharaj and Meru Devi in the 5th canto of Bhagavatam. In the next chapter, they come. We are reading 2nd chapter. In the 3rd chapter, there is a great couple, Nabhi Maharaj and Meru Devi. Nabhi Maharaj wanted a child as good as the Supreme Lord. He appointed some Vaishnava priests. They conducted a great sacrifice. To please the Lord, please Lord Vishnu, and their expectation is, may Lord Vishnu bestow Nabhi Maharaj with a son who is as good as Lord Vishnu. So they conducted the sacrifice, and Lord Vishnu appeared in the sacrifice. And the priests offered such beautiful prayers to Lord Vishnu and said, oh Nabhi Maharaj, oh Vishnu, this Nabhi is foolish. He does not have so much intelligence. He has a material desire. What is that? He wanted a son as good as you. How is that a material desire? He's a devotee, Krishna conscious devotee. But Prabhupada and even in the purports and even the sloka itself, there's a criticism of Nabhi's mentality. Some people want the privilege of having a great child who is as good as God Himself. I am the father of God, or I am father of someone who is as good as God. So they want that privilege, they want that prestige, they want that happiness of being of fathering or mothering a great personality. So that is considered material desire in one sense, from one perspective, not from all angles. Prabhupada even says, instead of doing some austerities and trying to bring the Supreme Lord from the spiritual world to the material world, you perform bhakti yoga and go from the material world to spiritual world. Of course, unless such pure devotees perform such austerities to bring the Lord to this material world, how will the other conditioned souls get an opportunity to see the Lord? From that perspective, it's a glorious desire. But from another perspective, instead of aspiring for a privileged position of being the parents of the Supreme Lord, better worship Him and go to Him. Instead of bringing Him to the place wherever you are, go to the place where He is staying. That's another angle Prabhupada gives. In the 10th canto, 3rd chapter, Prabhupada writes like this. So, coming back to Nabhi Maharaj's example, Nabhi Maharaj wanted that privilege of being the father of the Supreme Lord or a son who is as good as the Supreme Lord. You know what Lord Vishnu said? There is no one as good as me. Therefore, I will only become his son. So, Lord Vishnu appeared as Rishabhadev, the son of Nabhi and Meru Devi. Although initially Nabhi Maharaj's desire to have a son as good as the Supreme Lord is criticized, ultimately it is glorified also. Nabhi Maharaj pleased the Brahmanas so much, he served the Vaishnavas so much, that they brought the Supreme Lord Vishnu from Vaikuntha and showed him Vishnu's form to Nabhi Maharaj, and that Vishnu became his son because he's a devotee. And later, after Vishnu became the son of Nabhi Maharaj, after Rishabhadev became the son of Nabhi Maharaj became a Vatsalya Bhakta. He developed Vatsalya feelings for the Lord. He became a pure devotee in Vatsalya Bhava, and he went back to Godhead. Even Meru Devi also. She developed Vatsalya, motherly affection towards the Supreme Lord, and they went to the spiritual abode. So, any desire in connection with the Supreme Lord will uplift one's consciousness eventually. Even if it seems like a substandard or not so ideal desire, but no problem. It is in connection with the Lord, eventually purification takes place. But if one is having desires either to have children or whatever, uh, disconnected from the Lord, then all these reactions, actions and reactions, sinful actions and uh, pious reactions one has to undergo. Now let me recollect the example of another father who could not train his daughter properly, who could not give proper culture and give good counsel to his daughter. That father is Shukracharya, the guru of all the demons. The Shukracharya had a beautiful daughter named Devayani. And at that time, the ruling demon king was Vrishaparva. He also had a very beautiful daughter named Sharmishta. Sharmishta is the princess, and Devayani is Guru Putri, or the daughter of a Brahmana. She's a Brahmani and she is a Kshatriya Kanya. These two young girls are good friends, and they have many other friends. So all these friends, these so many girls, young girls, they went to take bath. A nice lake, and they left the clothing on the bank. They entered the lake. They were taking bath happily. Meanwhile, Lord Shiva was passing by there. All these girls became conscious. Oh my God, we are taking bath in Swat reservoir. Of course, openly taking bath there in the Vedic culture was appropriate because there were some bathing ghats or bathing places or bathing lakes separately meant for women. No man will go there. Right? Men will take bath somewhere else, women will take bath somewhere else, and any cultured man would not go there. Right? Who knows etiquette? So they are safe and protected. So they are taking bath there, and Lord Shiva happened to pass by. Mhm. And they became a bit conscious. And they started covering their bodies with their clothes. They came out. By mistake, Sharmishta took the clothes of Devayani, Brahmana clothes of Devayani, and then wore. And Devayani became very upset. How dare you touch my clothes? I'm a Brahmana, right? I'm the daughter of a Brahmana. She did not stop there. It's not that she became a little irritated or upset because her clothes are taken by someone. She exhibited her false ego, her superiority complex. So far, they were friends with each other, but all their friendship is based on pampering of each other's egos. I'll come to this point after 2 minutes. Let me complete what Devayani said to Sharmishta. We are Brahmanas and you are Kshatriyas. We are superior and you are inferior. Your father, Vrishaparva, comes and falls at the feet of my father every day, offers obeisances. Because of my father Shukracharya's blessings, you are flourishing. Your prosperity is dependent on our blessings. Now, it's a simple quarrel between two girls about dress, but it became a quarrel between the Kshatriya community and Brahmana community completely. Why did they bring their fathers into picture? Why did they bring their Varnas into picture? And Devayani is exhibiting her superiority complex. Till now, Sharmishta did not scratch that side of Devayani, therefore they are friends. But as soon as Sharmishta, by mistake, not intentionally, touched her cloth, immediately Devayani showed her superiority complex. We are superior, you are inferior. How dare you touch my clothes? I am very pure. So, Sharmishta is no less. Sharmishta also spoke something. She said that your father is a beggar. Right? My father donates your father. You Brahmanas, you don't have sufficient food or wealth. Unless we Kshatriyas offer you the charity and maintain you like this, how will you survive? You can't survive. So your survival is dependent on us. We are maintaining you. We are beggars. And she exhibited her superiority complex also. Her Kshatriya ego came into picture and her Brahmana ego came into picture, and there is a conflict between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas here. Although the fathers are okay, right? Sometimes celebrities are friends with each other, their fans will fight with each other. Right? So here Vrishaparva and Sukracharya, they did not have any issue. Vrishaparva is continuing to happily serve the kingdom, and Sukracharya is guiding him. But somehow there is a conflict between their children, their daughters. And Sharmishta, being a Kshatriya Kanya, she just took away the clothes of Devayani and threw her into a well. You know what happened later. And our poor Yayati, he comes there, protects her, and then Devayani says, I will marry you, and many things happen. But before that, the main incident comes. After Yayati saved Devayani, Devayani went to Shukracharya and spoke everything that Sharmishta spoke. Sharmishta insulted me. She took my clothes. She threw me into this well. She embarrassed me. She is so egoistic. Actually, she is also egoistic. Right? Devayani is no less. In fact, Devayani started the whole thing. Right? But Devayani said, I just spoke according to our position. We are Brahmanas, we are superior, right? Right? Therefore, I just spoke the truth. But she is so egoistic, she is not accepting her subordinate position in front of me. Now, what Sukracharya is supposed to do as a father? It is his responsibility to console the child, console his daughter. You are a young daughter, you are very small, you don't understand the whole thing. Please forget, it's a small quarrel between friends. Again, you become friends. Or he could have brought both the girls together and said, you tell her good qualities and you tell her good qualities. Right? Apart from this quarrel, and then become friends with each other again. So all this could have been done. But Shukracharya did not do anything like that. Shukracharya also felt very bad. Having affection for children is good, but that affection should not become blind. When a child does a mistake, it is the father's responsibility and mother's responsibility to correct the child and not pamper the child. Love is there, but if that love manifests in the form of supporting their misbehavior, that love only distracts them, deviates them, and degrades them. But if that love is exhibited also sometimes in the form of correction and little strictness and trying to discipline them, that love is real love. Sukracharya, instead of consoling the daughter or pacifying the daughter and giving her some good counsel, instead of saying Brahmanas are supposed to be forgiving and tolerant, just like Jamadagni spoke to Parashuram. Parashuram went and killed whom? Kartavirya Arjun. Then Parashuram came back to Jamadagni, his father. Jamadagni said to Parashuram, Parashuram, we are Brahmanas. We are supposed to be tolerant. We are supposed to be forgiving. And forgiveness is our greatest ornament. Kshamaya rochate Lakshmi Brahmi Shauri Yatha Prabha Kshaminamasu Bhagavam Stushyate Haririshvaraha. Whoever has the ability and strength and maturity and accommodativeness to tolerate small mistakes of others and forgive them with a noble heart will become very dear to the Lord. So that's what Jamadagni told. Of course, that's another story where Jamadagni also did some mistakes. We'll come to that story a little later. I'll come back from the detour, come back to Shukracharya. Shukracharya, instead of teaching peace and forgiveness to his daughter, he encouraged her egoistic behavior. He pampered her false ego. He started running towards Vrishaparva to punish him or to curse him or to do whatever. What is there in his mind? We are not fully sure, but it is somewhat guessed by Vrishaparva. Knowing that there was a conflict between his daughter and his guru's daughter, Vrishaparva immediately came running towards Shukracharya. They both met on road, not in the palace. The meeting did not take place in Shukracharya's Brahmana hut or Vrishaparva's Kshatriya palace. The meeting took place on the road. So Vrishaparva came there with anxiety, so much anxiety. My guru may curse me. What will happen to my position? What will happen to my kingdom? What will happen to my daughter? He came with so much anxiety. And Shukracharya came. My daughter is insulted by your daughter. He is very angry. Then Vrishaparva said, my dear guru, sorry, please forgive me. No forgiveness, only punishment. Right? What is that punishment? Whatever my daughter expects, you should do. She's a child, not very small child, little grown up girl, young girl, maybe in teens or something like that. Why did Shukracharya allow her to speak in the first place? Shukracharya is expecting this king, Vrishaparva, to fall at her feet and pacify her and do whatever is pleasing to her. You know what she asked? When I get married to Devayani, your daughter Sharmishta, Princess Sharmishta, should become my servant, my maid servant, and come with me. These good friends became lifelong enemies. And that enmity is endorsed and supported by Shukracharya. Instead of killing the inimical feelings in his daughter, he encouraged the inimical feelings and actually insisted that Vrishaparva pacifies her by sending his daughter Sharmishta, the princess, as a maid servant to Devayani. See? On the other hand, when Suruchi inappropriately, harshly spoke to Dhruva, what did Suniti say? Suniti, the first words came out of Suniti's mouth is, my dear child, please don't desire harm for Suruchi. Even if she had insulted you, you should not desire anything inauspicious for her. Second, please understand that this bitter experience you faced is because of your own past misdeed. She's not even saying that you don't desire harm for Suruchi because she insulted you. She will definitely face the problem, reaction for her misbehavior. She's not pointing out that. She's not saying that she will face the consequences of her karma. She's only saying that we are facing the consequences of our past karma. That is Vaishnavata. Instead of saying that Suruchi will experience the repercussions of her misbehavior now in future, she is saying that we are experiencing the consequences of our misbehavior in the past now. And Shukracharya is totally opposite. Right? Shukracharya says, now you pacify my daughter, you satisfy her. And Vrishaparva is obliged to send his daughter as a maid servant. So, when children are becoming egoistic or lacking discipline or lacking devotion, parents need to guide them in the proper way instead of pampering that mentality. But there are many other constraints. It's not a parenting seminar, by the way. It's a Bhagavatam class. Whatever came to my mind in after reading this purport, it's like Agnidhara's wife Purvachitti gave her milk to all the 9 sons, and they became very strong because she is a pure lady. She is a strong lady. She's coming from the upper planets. Her strength strengthened her sons, right? And we have seen the examples of so many such, especially Mother Yashoda. So when mother feeds her milk to the child becomes physically strong. And when mother feeds her good character and devotion to the child becomes spiritually strong. Similarly, when father also gives good culture and good values and virtues and morals and principles to the child through personal example and also through teaching, then the child will grow nicely. So this is a service, right? The sense gratification part of it is very, very insignificant and small, but the responsibility part is very, very significant. So these are some thoughts based on this shloka. I think we'll conclude here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. If someone has questions, you can raise your hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class. So you were giving the consciousness of parents on the children, basically. So in this present world, basically, so how do we know that we are raising children right consciousness? So because it's kind of self-check or introspect we should continuously do. Am I in the right path first ourselves, and then is like how much anxiety should we have for our kids whether they're in the right path?
We need to consult some experienced devotees, right? So there are so many wonderful parents in our society who raised their children in a very wonderful way, physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually strong children they have created. So we can take inputs from them. And whatever we are trying, is it right or wrong? Is it good or bad? You can always evaluate that by asking, by consulting some experienced devotees. They can share their insights, their experiences. So what we discussed is based on Srimad Bhagavatam and based on the actual hands-on, on-ground personal experience. They have more realizations also. These are principles, but those are principles in action. So you can take inputs from them. Thank you very much. Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you were saying about milk that Yashoda Mata used to feed Lord Krishna. So at that time, she used to feed the milk of Padmagandha cows.
She was personally feeding her own milk from her body to Krishna. Parallelly, Padmagandha milk is being boiled in the kitchen. So she was feeding that milk also. She was making butter from that milk. Right? Both are happening. I see a question mark on the face. What exactly is the question? Huh?
Just have a question, Prabhuji.
She was feeding Padmagandha milk, definitely. She was feeding her milk also.
That you were saying that first 6 months, the children must feed the mother milk.
Prabhupada said. Prabhupada wrote in the purport. Okay. Prabhupada wrote in the purport. We read the purport. Open that screen. It's not 6 months means it's not only 6 months. It can be more, it can be less. It all depends on circumstances. But at least first 6 months, if the mother directly feeds her milk, definitely the child will grow strong. That's what Prabhupada said. But as the child is growing, cow's milk also is fed. Cow is also one of the mothers. Right? What exactly is the point here? Huh? This only? Yeah. So you are thinking that 6 months Mother Yashoda should feed Krishna only her milk and no Padmagandha milk. That must have happened, definitely. But Krishna was not 6 months old at that time. At that time of Damodar Leela, Krishna was a little older than 6 months. Maybe 2-3-year-old boy, probably. I don't know the exact age, it's not mentioned. But definitely less than 3 years, 4 months. At the age of 3 years, 4 months, Krishna and all the Vraja community shifted from Gokul Mahavan to Vrindavan. And this pastime happened in Gokul Mahavan. Therefore, Krishna is maximum 3 years old. At Damodar Leela happened. When Damodar Leela happened. So at that time, Mother Yashoda was feeding her milk also and Padmagandha milk also for butter. Both are happening.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class. So many examples you gave from Bhagavatam. I'm falling short of words how to appreciate you. Very, very thankful to you, Prabhuji. So my question about parents, as a parent, we are always eager to give Krishna consciousness to our child. But sometimes they don't know the value and importance of this Krishna consciousness because they don't know the seriousness of this Krishna consciousness. But we are, as a parent, because we came to Krishna consciousness very late in our life, but they are very fortunate that they are getting Krishna consciousness so early in their life. So, but sometimes kids, they don't take Krishna consciousness very seriously. So how to make them very seriously? We cannot force them, but still we have that desire that, they should take up this Krishna consciousness very seriously. Prabhuji, so please.
It's a common question of so many parents across the globe in different countries. Same question. The multiple things that the parents can do. The best thing is to set a good example for the children when the parents are genuinely absorbed in Krishna consciousness and relishing Krishna consciousness, relishing Krishna Katha, relishing chanting, relishing the whole act of worshipping the deities, serving the Vaishnavas. So kids will automatically try to imitate or follow the parents. But in the name of absorption in Krishna consciousness, personal absorption, if the parents happen to neglect children, sometimes children may think that this Krishna consciousness has taken my parents away from me. They're always behind temples and chanting and services and programs. They're not giving us sufficient attention and they may become averse also. So, getting attention from the parents is the hak, is the adhikar of children. Right? So, giving them that attention that they deserve. And while doing so, to the best of ability, whatever is humanly possible, one should try to be sincere in one's devotional life also. Apart from this, there are many other things. We can speak many things, but one thing that I can mention is bringing these children in contact with individuals of their age group will work wonders. So, however devoted and spiritually elevated the parents may be, parents are parents, there is some intimacy and familiarity. And age gap is there. That is their next generation, right? But if you bring the kids in contact with other kids of similar age group who are nicely absorbed in bhakti, their enthusiasm is contagious. That's why, just like when devotees come to temple, so adults will come to the adults class, parallelly some kids program also should happen, where all the children are engaged in some Krishna conscious activities, some Krishna stories can be told, Krishna games can be conducted, and make them speak, make them be active, and basically give them Krishna conscious friends. Because in schools, they may not get Krishna conscious friends. In school, every child in a classroom may not be following a spiritual path, and they may have different other habits also. And the children are spending more time with those kids for 8 hours in a day, 5 days in a week or 6 days in a week. But at least 1 or 2 days in a week, when they get exposure to Krishna conscious kids with Krishna as the subject matter of their interaction, then those vibes will protect them from the materialistic vibes they may get in their educational institutions, right? But there are some schools who also inculcate spiritual culture. So in my school, when I was in 8th, 9th and 10th standard, I studied in a school called Balabhanu Vidyalayam in Srikakulam. Every single day, we had Bhagavad Gita sloka recitation. Right? Morning about 45 minutes, all the children in the school, about 700, 800, would come together in a big hall like this, we recite Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam, Rudra Namakam Chamakam, then Mantra Pushpam, Purusha Suktam, Sri Suktam, we would recite. Regular mainstream education is going on. Social, science, mathematics, physics, chemistry, that is going on. Telugu, English, Hindi, in which I am always poor. But apart from that, our morning program is Gita recitation, right? And prayers. Sahara. And before prasadam, before lunch, all the school kids should come at one place and we should chant some mantras. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhanaktu, sahaviryam karavavahi. So that culture, like that's ingrained, right? Apart from that, at home also, some Krishna conscious vibes may not be exactly ISKCON vibes, but some spiritual vibes were there at home also, Sri Vaishnava flavor vibes. So that balanced inputs of from parents and from school also just helped at least me and many of our friends. So that we need to offer as much as possible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. 9:30 now. We'll stop. Should we take this question? Prabhu will decide. Last. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Prabhuji, Chanakya, he mentions that the art of parenting, in one context, he mentions that when the child is very small, you should pamper him. And when he is growing old, next level, you should treat him like a servant. And he also, I might quote it wrong, but the essence is that when he grows to in your elder age, you should treat him like a friend. So there are variations in parenting. But in this process of parenting, the art of parenting, we are sometimes afraid that if you correct him, he will be averse to ourselves and the relationship will be spoiled. So one first question is that, is Chanakya's art of parenting correct in this day and age? Second question is that when you are talking about how do you overcome that fear that my child will get away from me if I start correcting him? Two questions, Prabhu. Please kindly address. Thank you.
Firstly, I must say you need to ask this question to some experienced parents, not me. Okay. But what I will speak is just the principle. But practically, there are some devotees who have applied that principle, so that you can take inputs from them, insights from them. So whatever I speak, there is a limit to it, right? As far as Chanakya Pandit's shloka is concerned, Chanakya Pandit says, Lalane bahavo dosha tadane bahavo gunaha tasmat putram cha sishyam cha tadayet natu lalayet. Right? Lalane bahavo dosha means if you pamper a child, the doshas, the faults will increase. Tadane bahavo gunaha. If you discipline the child, if you correct the child or punish if required, in a moderate way, not exactly, then it will become child abuse to the extent that many other things will happen, right? So one should do it in a loving way, in an appropriate way. Tada is not necessarily beating, right? So we got so many beatings from our teachers and parents, everything. Tasmat putram cha sishyam cha tadayat natulalayat. Therefore, you be strict and discipline them and not pamper them. That's the point. But the next shloka, Chanakya Pandit says, for the first 5 years, you can pamper. Give them full freedom. Let them do whatever they want. You may give corrections, but very limited corrections, not so much. But from 5 to 16 is the range where they need to be disciplined. They need to be they need to be given good culture, values and discipline. But beyond 16, treat them like friends. That's the bifurcation he gives. But the spirit behind these statements is that, let me quote Prabhupada now. Prabhupada was giving lecture once. He quoted this shloka, Lalane bahavo dosha tadane bahavo gunaha tasmat putram cha sishyam cha tadayat natu lalayat. So Prabhupada quoted this shloka and explained the meaning. And at the end he added, for a spiritual master, for a guru to chastise a grown-up disciple is not easy. It's very difficult. So, with folded hands, I am begging all of you, please don't become hippies again. Please shave your heads at least once in a month. And please dress yourself as Vaishnavas. Please put Vaishnava tilak. So Prabhupada is saying that. He quoted, Tasmat putram cha sishyam cha tadayet natu lalayet. He said that. Don't pamper the disciple or child or son. You be strict. But Prabhupada, he also folded his hands and said, I'm begging you, please don't become hippies again. So one thing is the principle applying it blindly. But another thing is understanding the temperament of the child. Some children or some students, they can take a correction even when they're 20 or 30 or 40. I have seen one video. An 80-year-old disciple of a 100-year-old guru, he's music guru, by the way, classical music guru. An 80-year-old disciple of a 100-year-old guru is singing some ragas in front of the guru with great respect and reverence, and the body language shows how respectful he is. And the guru is lying down. He's 100 years old, right? He's very, very old. And he is also kind of prompting the disciple and then giving some correction or whatever, appreciating. There also that guru-student, teacher-student relationship is there, respect and reverence is there. So seeing the temperament of the child also, the elder will reciprocate, right? So now if the child can take a correction or suggestion, even when they're sufficiently grown up, then the parents give suggestion, teachers give suggestion. But if the child has a temperament where they want to learn by their own experience, then the parents and teachers will allow that also to happen. Every small physical sickness does not need a medicine. You have a little headache, take some rest, it will go. You can't go for a surgery. I have a headache. Surgery. Not necessary. Similarly, every small mistake doesn't need a correction. You should allow them to learn from their mistakes. Right? If they are playing there and they break their hand or leg or whatever, small injury, then they will understand, oh, I should not do like this. So that will give them a better experience than the elders telling them. But sometimes if they are entering a very very dangerous zone, immediately we should stop. So how much is too much? It also depends on the temperament of the child and the nature of the parent. The correction should not be given in a very intimidating way or very constraining way that they lose their creativity and they feel very constrained, they feel very restricted. But it has to be done in a loving way. It all depends on the temperament of the child and their specific requirement and the kind of environment in which they are exposed to. Many things are there. In different countries, different principles apply, different rules and systems will apply. But whatever works well, we can do that. Best thing is you consult some senior devotees who are experienced in this field. These are a few thoughts from my end. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji will also give Bhagavatam study circle class in Dwarkapuri Hall at 11:45, which is in Telugu. So those devotees who are can understand Telugu, you can surely join this class. Hare Krishna.